Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the next video wherein we are going to do an amazing question of strings. It's construct k palindrome strings. It's a medium level problem. It's a pretty good problem, I would say. It's going to be having a good logic to learn. So we'll be just discussing about the logic in this particular question because code is pretty much simple. So I'll be just writing that at the end. And we're going to be more focusing on the logic for this question. So without wasting any time, let's get into this. So basically this question is given us a string and also an integer k. So what they're asking is that you have to use all the characters that we have in this particular string, and if you can make k number of palindromes out of it or not. If that is the case, if you can make k number of palindromes using all the characters, then you can return the answer as true. Otherwise, you have to return the answer as false. So what's the logic behind it? What's the concept that we need to use? So if you have done other questions of palindrome of strings, you must be having this concept in your mind that you just need to have even number of characters present in a particular string. If that is the case, you're good to go. You can make the palindrome out of it. But the problem comes when we have odd number of characters present in a string, then we have to use and you have to do certain kind of manipulation in order to get the answer. So that's what the problem over here as well. Till the time you're having even number of count. So like you can see, let's take an example. So this Annabelle is given to us. So I'm going to be just not going to be taking B as of now, just to show you something, that ELLE, right? If that is the case, you can make definitely possible good number of palindromes. You can create a palindrome as ANNA. You can create a palindrome as ELLE. This is one arrangement, and you can see that k is equals to 2, then definitely we have got the answer over here, right? So that means we are able to create two different possible palindromes. You can also make an arrangement as NAAN and the other one as LEEL. This is also a possible arrangement. What else you can make? You can make ENNE. You can make something called as LAAL, right? So you can see that, I mean, even if the A would have been like 4 times, even if the E would have been like 4 times, right? There are possible arrangements, like you can create definitely n number of possible arrangements. I won't be saying that n. You can make good number of palindromes out of it. The problem is not going to come if we have even number of count of the characters. The problem comes when we have odd number of characters present in a particular string, right? So that's what we have to look for. Next, let me just show you certain examples more so that it's going to be pretty much clear to you that how exactly you can work around for this particular concept. The next example which has been given to us is this one, right? So over here, the problem is given to us as LeetCode k equals to 3. Why exactly the answer is coming as false for this particular case? Let's try to see that. The very simple thing is that we have all the characters which are present in this particular string as odd number of count. So that means we won't be able to fix that. We won't be able to create the palindromes out of it. And also not just that, we can make certain palindromes. We can create a palindrome as L only, because single character also itself is a palindrome. We can take E because E is present for 3 times. This is also a palindrome. We can take T, we can take C, we can take O, we can take D. These all are individual palindromes, and also we are using all the possible characters. We are using all the characters that we have inside of this string. But the thing is, k is equals to 3. We won't be able to fix that as the answer. We can't return the answer as true. The simple thing is that k is equals to 3. We can, the question is demanding us whether we can make 3 palindromes or not using all the strings. We can't. We are able to create the palindromes as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 number of possible palindromes are there in this particular example using this particular string. If the k would have been something called as 6, we can definitely turn the answer as true, right? So that's what the question is over here. So that means the problem comes when we have odd number of characters, and it should not be exceeding the number k over here. If that has been exceeded, definitely we have to make the answer as false, right? That's what the logic behind is for this particular question. Let's take the next example which is given to us. This question, this particular example is given to us as true. And we have, like I mentioned, that you can take all the possible individual characters, and that is also your palindrome. So we have taken T as an individual, R as an individual, U as an individual, and E as an individual character. And yes, K is equals to 4. So that means we have utilized all the characters that we have in the string, and K is also 4. So that means we can return the answer as true, and this is sufficing, like it is giving us the answer as possible 1. We can create 4 palindromes using all the characters. What if the string is going to be containing trues? S is also there. That means we would be having one more odd character. That means it is exceeding the value of K. So that means we won't be able to adjust as a possible palindrome. So that means we have to return the answer as false, right? So this is what the question is demanding. So what's the logic behind it? I hope the logic is pretty much clear to you now, that if you're having odd number of characters exceeding the value of K, then you can certainly return the answer as false. And there is also one more situation. It's just a simple situation that you have to keep a note of, that if the number of characters which are present, if the number of characters present in the string is less than that of the K, right? Just imagine for a case, you have been given A, B, C, and you have been asked to find out the possible palindromes as 4. This is not possible, right? Because K itself is the number which is going to be like as a number of palindromes, and you have the number of length, like number of characters present in a string is less than that of the K, you have to return the answer as false. Pretty simple, right? This is also a false condition. And so let me just write down this as case 1. Next is like case 2. If odd count of characters is greater than that of K, that is also a false condition. So this is something which we have to keep a note of. And why exactly I'm trying to say this, let me explain you this particular point once again, so that it's going to be very much clear to you that why exactly it is happening. Okay, so this is something like, let's coming back to this particular example only, and I'm just removing the B just to explain you certain point. Now, like I mentioned, that the possible palindromes that we have for this particular example are this NAAN, and the other one would be like LEEL. Now let's take for the case we are introducing the odd number of characters one by one. The very first I'm going to be introducing as H. Let's take the same thing, K is equals to 2, and let's see what's going to happen. Now this H has been given to us. That's not a problem. We can definitely adjust this H at any particular point. We can adjust this as H over here. We can adjust at this particular location as well. This is something which is going to be easily adjusted. As of now, we have only one single character which is having odd number of count. And now imagine for a case, I want to adjust one more odd number of character. I've got this F over here, right? Now what can we do? We can take H over here. We can take F over here. This is not gonna bother us, and we can certainly give the answer as true. We can create 2 possible palindromes out of using all these possible characters that we have, right? So this is something we can do easily. Next thing, I have got one more odd character as Z. What you can do? You can't do anything now, because you have 3 number of odd characters present in your string. You can't adjust all these characters to get the possible palindromes, because you have to have 2 palindromes over here, and you cannot adjust the third character as an odd number of count, right? So that means you will have to return the answer as false in this particular case. So that's the reason we just need to have the odd number of characters present in our string less than that of K. We can also make this as equals to K, and we can give the answer as true. Otherwise we have to return the false. I hope this makes sense. I hope the logic is pretty much clear to you. Let me write down the code. It's pretty simple. You just have to have certain number of like adjustments have to be done, and that's pretty much it. So let me just first of all write this as s.length Next is like as I have to have odd equals 0, right? So we are starting with the code and we have just defined two variables, n being the length of the string that we have and the odd as 0. Now we're going to be creating a hash map just to keep the count of the number of characters that we have. New hash map, and this is going to be like character and this is going to be like integer. Okay, I am going to be creating a hash map just to store all the number of number of values, number of count or frequency, you can say, of all the individual characters in the string. So how can we do that? We have to start with the for loop, and this for loop is going to be like starting from int equals 0 and I less than n till the length of the string I plus plus, and I have to store all the values. So I'll be inserting all these values inside of my hash map. How we can do that? We have to put this as char at, and that to be of s dot char@. So this is going to be I, and I have to do certain thing, map dot get or default. This is the case. So this is basically okay. So let me explain you what this get or default basically does. But before that, let me just write that down. Char@ I 0 plus 1. So basically what's happening over here, I'm just adding up all the characters which I have in this particular string. So I'm starting with the very first character a, n, and that's how I'm going to be proceeding till the time we have this length of this particular string, right? So I'm just pointing to the individual character of the string starting from the first location, and this map or get or default is basically going to be checking if this is already present, like this particular character, then we have to return that particular value and have to add 1. Otherwise the default value is going to be 0. So that's what it is doing, right? And that's how it's going to be storing all the values inside of my hash map. Now once the hash map is filled, I just have to do the check over here. So I'm going to be creating a variable and I will be checking from map dot values, whatever the values that we have inside of this hash map. And if my I divided by, not divided by percentile, because that's what I have to check, if it is even or not. If it is not equals 0, then I have to increment. So that means I'm just checking what all odd values that I have inside of this hash map. And whenever I'm getting the odd value, I have to just add this particular by 1, right? Now I just have to return this thing, return odd if it is less than or equals to what? K. If it is less than or equals to k, then you have to return the true, otherwise we have to return the false. Let me just run this code. Yes, all the cases has been accepted. Let's just submit this. I hope that pretty much like problem statement is clear to you. The logic is just something which we have to keep a note of. So I'm getting some answer. It's not passing all the test cases. Let me just take a look. Okay, so it's not passing the test case wherein it's having the length. The problem is coming as with the length. I've just missed out one single condition, like if, okay, so let me write down over here because that's where I have defined my variable. If my n is basically less than that of the k, I have to return false. That's it. Now it's gonna work. You can see that it has been accepted. All right, so I hope this question is pretty much clear to you. Like it's just a logic building. Just try to watch the video once again. If you have any kind of question, you can put that in the comment box. And yeah, that's it from my side. That's it in this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time, guys.